The Bryce Young story began with hope, then despair, frustration, being benched outright, but then turned into perseverance, improvement, and then hope once again. The 2023 first overall pick was so atrocious in the 26-3 Week 2 ass whooping against the Chargers that rookie head coach QB whisperer Dave Canales was all but forced to sit him down to give the Panthers a fighting chance. Then, after 5 long weeks on the bench, Bryce came back and looked like a completely different quarterback. According to Joseph Person from The Athletic, during that 5-week hiatus, the Panthers coaching staff honed in on Young's footwork, which quite honestly has been insanely erratic. It's always been unorthodox, where he takes a ton of small steps, then kinda hops on his tippy toes, making him off balance when he releases the ball. One of the main reasons a quarterback's footwork is so critical is that the number of steps he takes is synchronized with when the receiver comes open. We'll group QB footwork into 3 buckets, starting with 1 to 3 step drops, quick game concepts like slants and curls, then 5 step drops, which are intermediate routes like digs at 12 to 15 yards. Then we have 7 step, which are pretty much extinct these days. That's for big time bombs, deep posts over the top. If the QB takes his drop too quick, he's ready to throw before the receiver is open, so then his guy looks covered, even if he's gonna be open. Or the QB takes his drop too slowly, and the receiver is open before the QB is ready to throw. This is the main thing Canales and his staff focused on during those 5 weeks with Bryce on the bench. And to be honest with you guys, watching his film from after he came back, the results are shocking. Before we really dive in to find out exactly what happened, I want to thank this week's sponsor, Arena Club. Arena Club is a platform that takes the trading card game and reinvents it as a digital experience. As a kid, I had a million baseball cards, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic, all of it. And my favorite part was going to the store, buying a new pack, and then opening it. It could have anything. Well, now Arena Club has made that whole process way easier while staying just as exciting. They sell slab packs where you can get anything now, anytime. I feel like a kid again going online, perusing the different options. I get the same rush as before, but now everything is easier. I loved trading cards too, baseball, Magic, any of it, and Arena Club still lets you do that where you can swap with online users. Everybody can see what you've got, so you can trade with anybody else. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Rollins and use code Rollins. Back in the Week 2 blowout against the Chargers, Bryce Young was a completely different quarterback compared to what we saw at the end of the year. His footwork was all over the place, and it almost never synced up with his receivers' routes. For example, this is a 5-step drop, so the Panthers are running intermediate routes like this deep out. Right when Young gets to his 5th step, that should be perfectly synced up with Jonathan Mingo breaking open. But look at how early Young gets rid of this ball. He doesn't even have the chance to see if Mingo is going to break open underneath to undercut the cornerback who's over the top. Instead of 5 big steps at a normal depth, which would be much slower, Young is racing through his footwork, not taking big enough steps, and in a gigantic clean pocket dumps the ball off way too early. We can see what it should look like from an old vet. Look how Dak is getting depth in his drop with each step, which is paced much better and synced up to his receiver coming open in the intermediate portion of the field. When your footwork is off, that's naturally going to lead to a dip in confidence, and Young's bottomed out completely. Throughout this game, he repeatedly sped through his footwork, settling for the check down way too early in the down. His average depth of target was just 2.3, low end is like 7 or 8, which tells me he had completely lost his confidence in pushing the ball down the field. An example of that is how little he targeted alert routes, where the Panthers would isolate their one receiver to one side. If Young likes the matchup pre-snap and sees it's gonna be one-on-one, if you are confident and trust your receivers, you're throwing this every time. But because he never tried his alert goes the entire game, look how the Chargers don't respect the deep ball, so they can push 6 defenders to the 3 receiver side, and of course, Young checks the ball down. Because he refused to push the ball deep, the Chargers condensed towards the line of scrimmage more and more as the game went on, and made not just the deep game, but the intermediate game impossible as well. You can see Elijah Molden playing deep safety, but watch how he knows the Panthers aren't going deep and he jumps the route. After this game, Young was benched. He finished with just 84 yards on 26 pass attempts, and his career looked like it could be over. Fast forward to week 8 when he started again, and the results were better. He pushed the ball down the field more, his average hit the target climbed to 8.8 the rest of the year, but it wasn't until week 12 against the Chiefs when we really saw improvement, and he almost beat the defending champs. For example, check how synced up his footwork is here with the out route coming open. The Chiefs are in cover 0, which means it's man coverage one-on-one with no deep safeties, and the Panthers literally do not have enough guys to block them. Somebody is gonna come untouched. Watch how the moment Young gets to the top of his drop, David Moore is just about to break outside. So with great timing and anticipation, Young makes an awesome throw just as he's about to get blasted. You can see the heat coming off the left untouched, but also watch Young's footwork. If he doesn't play within the framework of the play, where he doesn't release this right at the top of his drop, this isn't gonna work. But with great timing comes great accuracy, and look at the throw. He was threatening deep a lot more too. When he saw his one-on-ones, he was taking them. Part of the problem is the Panthers desperately need a guy who can win these matchups. This is a great ball, but they just don't have the talent outside where Young can make accurate throws that are consistently caught. A few weeks later in week 18, Young absolutely balled out. The Panthers dropped 44 points, winning in overtime. He completed 73% of his passes for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. You can tell a quarterback is confident when his back foot hits and the ball is coming out, and this is a perfect example of why it's so important. Here's this alert fade with Thielen releasing outside. If Young doesn't use good footwork to get this out at the top of his drop, he won't be on time. If it's any later, this puppy's going out of bounds. The concept is designed for the ball to be completed along the sideline, so if the timing isn't perfect, Young and Thielen will simply run out of real estate. However, what surprised me about the young quarterback is how unorthodox his footwork remains. He still takes tiny little steps, and while his timing got better, the number of steps he took and his pacing still don't really make any sense. This is a drift route. Usually it's from under center paired with a play action fake, and the QB is releasing this after the fake right at the top of his drop. But without play action to get everything synced up, it's converted to a 3, maybe 5-step drop to sync up with Jalen Coker's route. However, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps here. 7 steps is for like a deep 25-yard post, not a quick drift route, but the timing is synced up and the accuracy on the throw is impeccable. To me, his timing and his footwork, to a degree, took a big step forward, but it was really his off-script playmaking ability that elevated his play. In my opinion, since he's practiced and played with unorthodox footwork his entire life, he's been able to throw from really weird arm angles, off-platform really well, and he's incredibly accurate for somebody who doesn't really have his feet under him most of the time. That's why you don't see him really capable of driving the ball deep down the field, since he almost never has his base under him. But that's not the end of the world. Those throws usually only happen maybe once a game. My primary worry is that his footwork won't be easily repeatable over and over to create extreme hyper-consistency. Like most small, non-super athletic quarterbacks, they all get comped to Drew Brees, where you say, okay, this guy needs to win from the pocket and have the meticulous attention to detail, where Brees' 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drops all looked exactly the same every time, so he could win over and over with perfect accuracy and efficiency. Maybe Young is the anomaly, and as we saw in the second half of last season, he really turned things around and finally had some success. But there is a reason that the quarterback position has been designed and constructed the way it has been. It works. I worry that Young won't be able to repeat this tap dancery down in and down out. And for a smaller QB who is not a top tier running threat, elite consistency will have to be his bread and butter. He had a nice bounce back second half and a few really nice games. But I'm still a bit concerned because that does not mean he's arrived by any means. His footwork did improve, his timing and confidence got way better, and we saw him push the ball down the field despite him refusing to do so in the beginning of the season. He's showed incredible resilience after struggling as bad as he did in his rookie season and the first 2 games of the year. To then come back and show huge improvement is gigantic. If he can continue this trend and keep building on this momentum from the end of the season, Bryce Young will be the anomaly.